They said, build it and they will come. There you are. Today we're going to do a little differently. We're going to do some things differently. Number one, I want to recognize Linda. I haven't had a chance to recognize Linda, and she's going to be moving. She and Sandy came together, and for the last 5 or 6 years, they've helped us take the center forward in education and all, and your tremendous support, Linda. I just want you to know I'm really appreciative of you. Let's hear for It's on, but it's not working very well. Can you hear me okay, though?
Put the mic up higher.
Put the mic up higher?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I here? Okay, does that work?
Higher.
On your collar.
On your lapel.
Under my lapel.
No, it's still not. I wonder if the batteries.
Okay. Become Stella. Is the other one
There's another
there?
mic
That's the
over
one that works. This one doesn't work. While they're doing that, I want to get started because I only have 20 minutes. What's kind of amazing, what I love about this is that the very theme that we have for November, which is called Grace, Power, and Presence, it's the very energy that gave us the opportunity to manifest where we are today. And so today we're going to be discussing what that means. Before we start, I'm going to do just a brief history of how we got here, very brief, and then we'll go from there into this idea of grace. About 12 years ago, our spiritual family, some of you were there then, decided, we're getting tired of moving. We've moved 6 times actually. We're getting tired of moving. We need our own place. And I'll tell you where those moves were real quickly here. We started at the high school, the Yosemite High School. We rented a classroom for one evening a week. And we were there for a while, and we started growing. Some of you were in that classroom. Anyone here who was in that classroom at that time?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. And so, okay, thank you. Does it work?
Yeah.
This is the part I hate.
Oh, they're working.
Then we went from there. We went to too loud?
Yes.
Oh my God, what am I going to do? Then we went from there to an abandoned restaurant, which was the old kettle, where the Rite Aid stayed. We were in the back room there. Now this is a vision that's coming along, and we're going to be talking more about that. And some of you were there then too. And so it was wonderful. And so we decided, let's put in mind, let's put in intention, an aspiration. We're going to talk aspiration today a little bit, of building our own place. Well, how this all came about was, in the audience at that very first time was a lady by the name of Reverend Marty Burke. How many of you know about Reverend Marty Burke? Some of you do. Well, Reverend Marty Burke and I, we were staff ministers in Fresno. And one day we were, Marty being Marty, you have to experience her. It's really cool. She's like a Marine drill sergeant. But anyway, so anyway, we're sitting at the back of this room attending a seminar, and Reverend Marty and I were sitting together, and she was complaining the whole darn time. She said, Angelo, we could do better than this person. This person doesn't know what she's talking about, and we should be given, why are we sitting here doing this? And so I said, well, what do you want to do? She said, let's be creative. I said, okay, let's be creative. I said, I'm getting sick and tired of driving 3 days a week to Fresno to teach classes and to go to church. This is ridiculous. What should we do? Let's go into Extra Madera County, the Bible Belt in Oakhurst, and have our center. That's how it all started. It was just an idea. And anyway, this Reverend Mark, what I loved about it was this, is that I experienced the dark night of the soul. It was kind of wonderful. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But we got letters to the editor from this person that said to the community, guess who the largest cult leader in the state of California is, who is starting his cult here? He's your superintendent of schools. And so it was kind of neat. I want to mention this to you folks because it was kind of cool. I didn't let it bother me, But what happened was, I talk about the dark night of the soul, but I was kind of protected in a way because the board president's wife was one of our founders. So I was okay. Anyway, many of the fundamental Christian churches came forward. The fundamental Christian church up the hill here, who was the largest, he calls me, he says, Angie, and I was a friend of his, I got to know him pretty well. He says, Angie, I'm supporting you. You have every right to create your church and to be and follow your own belief systems. So we're with you. Then we had a Baptist minister call me and says, we're with you. So our church started growing. And that's how we got to where we are today. But anyway, the Reverend Marty moved on. She graduated to a higher level of existence. But she is now with us today as well through her daughter, Reverend Sandy West. Sandy West, stand up for me. And Reverend Sandy worked miracles this last week. I'll tell you, when she's in charge, I don't try to say you're like your mother. But she is. Well, she's a drill sergeant. This last week, how many of you in the audience got involved with the move in 1 week? Raise your hands. Oh my God, you're all out there. She had all these people working, and we achieved this move in probably less than 3 days. Wow. Achieved it in less than, I was amazed. There was a miracle that was occurring. So anyway, this last week, I knew that I had to do this. Did you want to say thank you to anybody?
I want to say thank you to everybody, because whether you supported us with treatment, whether it was donations, whether it was help with the move, we couldn't have done it without you guys. I mean, people showed up out of the woodwork. Paul, who's only been coming here 3 or 4 times, worked all day hauling chairs. I mean, everybody stepped up. We didn't have the final, like the altar and stuff done this morning. Everybody that came in early helped. It's our church, all of us, and I can't tell you how much I thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, Sandy. And with Reverend Linda moving to North Carolina, we're passing the mantle over to you, Sandy, as the spiritual leader, senior minister. God bless you. Anyway, this week, when I have a talk to give, I try to call in the troopers. And this week, we're talking about grace, and we're talking about presence, and we're talking about power. And so I asked a few of our spiritual family members, what does grace mean to you? Because if you ask what grace means to a fundamental Christian, it's being saved by giving your life to Jesus the Christ, which is okay. I mean, that's the belief system. But for new thought, what is grace? And so what came out about it is that it's a spiritual favor. We don't have to believe in something. We don't have to subscribe to any living or past entity. It's a gift to us. It's a favor that is given to us just from the mere fact that we're spiritual beings occupying a body. And what grace is all about is that we have within ourselves, the mystics call it uncontaminated light energy. Isn't that cool? Uncontaminated life energy. What does that mean to us? It means that we have this power within ourselves, no matter what the circumstances is. We have the power to resolve it, because grace is that spiritual entity, that spiritual mysterious power that resolves all. But we have the ability to stand in its way, don't we? This church, this sacred space, was a result of grace operating in our lives. Mm-hmm. Because we started with naysayers, there are folks that said we can't do it. There's too much to do. There's too much money to raise. There's too much this and that. And it was grace that came forward and said, and what grace is, we don't have to ask for it. We automatically have it in our existence. So the founders of this church, and many of you out there, because of this divine energy that we call grace, this uncontaminated light, appeared in our lives and was able to take it. Now, the reason I said it's a dark night of soul, what I love about building in Madera County is that it really defines and gives you an opportunity to experience what it means to be a dark night of the soul. There were times when we were on our knees, we said, my God, what's going on here? My God, can we do this? Are we going to lose all this? And so we're here, and we did it. So this idea of grace is really important. But I'm going to Pizelo-ize this a little bit. I want to come up with a new word. And I thought about it this weekend. I need to come up with a new word of what grace is all about. The spiritual favor that's automatically who we are. It's our internal, eternal source energy presence. The new word has to do with enoughness. Can you say that? Enoughness. New word. You heard it here for the first time and you're participating in it. Grace is spiritual enough. Or you can call it spiritual enoughness. Every one of us has the power and the presence to bring it into our experience. And we need to figure out, and we're going to do it today, we're going to figure out how to evoke and invoke and bring grace. In other words, stay out of its way and allow it to function in our life. That's our duty assignment this month when we talk about grace. How do we allow this magnificent energy that's with me all the time, magnificently, automatically? I don't have to earn it, it's mine, and it's who I am, it's my spiritual presence. How do I invoke it or evoke it? I don't know what you want to call it. How do we allow it to function in my life when I'm exposing myself, or I'm in the present moment, but basically being confronted with everything that's going on out here? So we're here because of that. I think it made it possible. So anyway, what exactly is it? Let's do this. Enoughness. I am enough. Can we say that? I am enough. When something's confronting me in my face, and it happens all the time, or if I'm down in the dumps, or whatever it is that's confronting me, whether it's a budget issue or building a building in Madera County, or any of that stuff, I think we need to develop a consciousness of I am enough. And I'm sure that everyone in this room, I know I can too, I can convince my conditioned mind that's always chattering, always living in the past, always worried about the future, occupying most of my day, telling me what I can't do, my limitation. I'm sure one of the things we must do this month when we focus on this is convince that chattering committee in the head, Marie used to call it, the committee in the head that's, we need to convince it about what?
Enoughness.
I am enough. And so there's a story I want to tell because it's going to bring us into another word. And so the reason I'm going to tell the story is because it leads us into another word that I want to talk about.